Hey guys, I'm Jonathan,
And I'm Deborah.
and we're here to tell you a bit more about what we believe. So, the question we're answering today is a question asking us if Christianity is just a religion. Is it just a religion, or is there more to it than that? And what we really want to talk about today is the difference between practicing religion and having religious practices and having a relationship with Jesus and having a relationship with God. So, what is the difference between both of those?
Yeah. So before we started, we just wanted to give a definition for religion and a definition for relationship. So religion is basically just a belief in God or in a group of gods.
Yes.
So it's a belief system that's based on worshiping a god or many different gods. While a relationship is a connection between two people. And in the case of our relationship with God, it's having a relationship where we can fully trust Him and trust that He knows what He's doing with our future and with our lives, basically.
Yes. So when we look at the Old Testament, we see that God had always intended for us to have a relationship with Him, right? At the very beginning, when He created man, He created us to be in constant communication with Him in the Garden of Eden, if you read the Bible. But then we break that connection when we start to sin. So we sin and we break that connection, and suddenly there's a big gap between us and God. And reaching Him becomes much harder. You have to do all these religious practices and you have to follow all these customs and traditions to try and get close to God again, right? And that's what we see in the Old Testament. There's certain foods that you can't eat. You have to sacrifice an animal every time you do something wrong. There's all these things that you need to keep track of to try and stay close to God. But then God sends us Jesus, right? And that's where the New Testament begins, when God sends us Jesus. And suddenly there's this new age of God bridging the gap that we broke in the very beginning, right? He's trying to reestablish a relationship with us through Jesus. And that's what Jesus came for. And that's where the story starts to change, and we start to see the grace of Jesus and the love and the mercy of Jesus start to take place and take over the traditions that we used to have to keep track of, and the customs that we used to have to keep track of that used to go under the name of religion.
Yeah, so I think that a really good verse that helps us to understand this transition is in Titus chapter 3, verse 5. He saved us not because of righteous things we have done, but because of His mercy. He saved us through the washing of rebirth and renewal by the Holy Spirit. Basically, He saved us not because we did anything that was righteous, not because of the good deeds that we did, but He saved us because of His grace.
Yes.
So when Jesus came down, we suddenly, when we accept Him into our life, we can be justified, we can be saved simply by His grace, simply by accepting Him and accepting the sacrifice that He made, right? But does that mean that certain rules that we could follow won't bring us closer to God? No, because when you think of a religious person, you probably think of someone who prays all the time, who goes to church and who does all that kind of stuff, right? But is that bad? No, it's not, if your heart's in the right place.
Yes.
Because obviously praying and reading your Bible and going to church is something that's going to help you to know God more and to deepen your relationship with Him, right?
Yes.
So it's not a bad thing. It just depends on where your heart is at. So if you're doing something because you want to be saved and not because you want a relationship with God, that's where there's a problem.
Yes,
right?
Exactly. I agree. And then the idea that you can be born into religion, but you can't be born into a relationship with Jesus, right?
Yeah.
You can say, I was born in a Christian family, but you can't say I was born with a relationship with Jesus, because that's something that happens over time when you accept Jesus and you start developing that relationship with Him.
Yeah.
And I think we really want to emphasize in this episode on the fact that religion, there's nothing really wrong with religion as long as it's pure religion.
Yeah.
And by that we mean purely, a religion is pure when you're purely following who it is that you're worshiping, right?
Yeah.
So I think Christianity in its essence means following Christ, right? Christians are followers of Christ. And there's nothing, that's exactly what we want to be, right? But the only way to be that is to purely devote yourself to Christ and not to the religious practices and customs. Those don't come first. And that's what we see also in the Bible with the Pharisees, people who would put tradition before Jesus.
That's where there's a problem.
That's where there's a problem. That's where you start to have a conflict, because you're putting what you're doing over what
who you're doing it for.
Exactly.
Yeah. And so I think an example that helps us understand this is, say for example that your mom wants you to wash the dishes.
Yeah.
And you know that if you don't wash the dishes, then you're going to be grounded or something, right? So either you can wash the dishes because you think you need to do it to prevent a punishment.
Yeah.
Or you wash the dishes because you know your mom's tired and you want to do something for her because you love her.
Yes.
So it's all about where your heart is at. Like, are you doing something because you have to and because you're scared of punishment? Or are you doing something because you love the person you're doing it for?
Yeah, it's a difference between relationship and love versus obligation.
Exactly.
Like, and that's the thing also with like religion that we also want to emphasize today. That oftentimes with religion, we think obligation, right? And that's not what it is. The idea is pure religion is not bad because pure religion doesn't come with obligation. It comes with love and grace and mercy and just a genuine passion for Jesus, a genuine passion to want to do what he wants us to do, right, with our lives. And I've heard a lot of Christians say, you know, I'm not a Christian, I'm a follower of Jesus. But a Christian in its essence is a follower of Jesus. There's nothing wrong with that. The problem, the reason why people say these things nowadays is because lots of people have made the name of Christianity dirty, right? People in the name of religion do things that are really not like what Jesus wants us to do. And like just a modern example of this is the Crusaders, for example. Like we see the Crusaders in history, how they started wars, how they looted random homes, and they did it in the name of Christianity. They called these wars religious wars. But in reality, they were just greedy wars. They were selfish, right?
Yeah, so when Jesus came, it's really obvious that he came to abolish certain traditions, but most importantly, he came to reestablish the true importance. Like what really matters in our relationship with him. Is it that we wear certain things, that we do certain things, that we don't work on a Sabbath? No, he made that obvious. He broke tradition of not working on the Sabbath by healing someone on the Sabbath. And the Pharisees were really mad at him for doing that. But he just came to reestablish the importance of just having a relationship with him. And that's the most important thing. Over anything that we can do, over any law that we can follow, the most important thing is that we have a relationship with him.
And it's not to say that all the other stuff are unimportant, because some of them are. And obviously, like a relationship with Jesus is going to produce fruit, right? If you really have a relationship with Jesus, like we said, if you really love your mom, you're going to do what your mom wants you to do, right? So if you really have a relationship with Jesus, you're going to do what he wants you to do. And like there are a lot of instructions in the Bible that we do have to follow to not sin, right? And to be followers of Jesus. So that's not the question, but the question is really the most important thing is having a relationship with him. And that's what it means to be a real Christian and to be a true Christian and to be a true follower of Jesus. Right? All right, so that's pretty much what we want to do with this episode. We hope it brought you guys a bit more insight. And we also just want to let you guys know that our summer has come to an end and we're about to start school again. So this will be our last episode for a while. And I think we're calling like the first set of episodes that we did season 1. And then we want to be back for season 2, and we have a lot of really exciting ideas and really exciting like questions and stuff that we want to bring you guys. But we don't really know when that will be. But like once we have the time again, we really want to get back to it, and we hope that we can answer more of you guys' questions and bring more clarity to the questions that you may have. But we hope you guys enjoyed this first season of the podcast and us answering the questions, and we hope it really helped you guys, because that's what it's all about. It's really about helping you guys, and like especially with this episode, we want to encourage you guys, start developing your relationship with Jesus if you haven't already, and if you are, like, just keep going, because we really believe it is the most important thing you can do with your life.
Don't forget to keep challenging what you believe. Bye,
See you guys.
Hey guys, thanks for taking the time to engage with us. All of our contents can be found on the following platforms.
If you enjoy our content, remember to like and comment. Also, if you have a question of your own, you can send it to us through Instagram DMs. We'll try to answer all of the questions to the best of our abilities. All questions will be kept anonymous.
If you found this video helpful, please be sure to share it on your story or to share it with your friends. They might find it helpful too.
See you guys soon!